Situation volatile in Manipur's Churachandpur following arrests of rights activists. Protesters take to the streets, burn vehicles, Section 144 imposed. Core Committee on Naga issue holds crucial meet in Kohima ahead of big meeting with NSC and IM leaders likely to be held on May 29th. Meghalaya Chief Minister Congress Sangma refuses to review border deal with Assam. Chief Minister Sangma also informs of cabinet decision to raise liquor prices to increase revenue. And another massive blow to Congress veteran leader Kapil Sibal dumps party, files Rajya Sabha nomination with Samajwadi Party's backing. Hello and welcome to News at 5. I'm Priyadarshini Methi and we start the bulletin with a big story from Manipur. Situation is extremely volatile in the state's Churachandpur district, with protesters taking to the streets demanding release of activist Mark Thangmang Haokip, who was arrested by a joint team of Manipur and Delhi police, arrested for allegedly inciting hate between communities through social media posts. Haokip, who is also the president of Manipur chapter of an organization called the International Human Rights Association, is currently being brought to the state. Meanwhile, protesters numbering in hundreds marched to the DC's office in Churachandpur, demanding the immediate release of Haokip. Angry protesters also set on fire vehicles as police struggled to control the situation.
Until Dr. Haokip is released, because the way he's arrested is unfair. It is a discrimination between the tribals and the people in the plain area. So we won't tolerate this discrimination. This protest will not be stopped until Dr. Mark T. Haokip is released.
Well, the situation turned violent after the protesters were refused permission to hold a rally demanding release of Haokip. However, when they refused orders, the police resorted to blank firing to disperse the crowd. The protesters, on their part, resorted to pelting of stones. It may be mentioned here that earlier, the supporters of Dr. Haokip assembled in front of the Churachandpur District Police Station, protesting against the summon order issued by Manipur Police towards human rights activist and president of International Human Rights Association, Manipur chapter, Mark Thangmang Haokip, and demanded for the immediate withdrawal of the summon order. Reportedly, the summon order was issued to Dr. Haokip on the grounds of inciting communal enmity through his social media handles, including his Facebook post. He was arrested under Section 153A IPC. Meanwhile, Manipur DGP P. Jungle informed Northeast Live that Section 144 has been imposed in Churachandpur district headquarters to control the situation.
Right now we have declared 144 around the place where the procession is to be taken, and our people also have taken police people have taken posts in different places. However, the crowd is dispersed, but they are in different pockets inside the town. But since they are scattered and without proper leader, so the situation that way is under control. But the procession is not being allowed to go out from peace ground. That is the situation as of now.
All right, to know more, we are being joined over phone line with our correspondent from Churachandpur, MK Henry. So, Henry, how's the situation now? We know that Section 144 has already been imposed, Henry.
The situation up to 3:34 p.m. has been very tense still, and everything is in a chaotic and confused state because the protesters have erected this, roadblock at various points, within a stretch of about 10 kilometers, starting from Churachandpur up to Tolen, Torbung. There is a blockade that is erected at various points, and where the blockade is erected, there is fires were burned, and then volunteer supporters of the ban were put on duty there, and they were very haughty and very angry also, very disappointed. And so the situation was very, very, very tense because of all these things, and no movement takes place. However, after some time, like a while ago, these band supporters were called by the DC, and they have submitted in the name of International Human Rights Association. And while submitting the memorandum, the DC has assured the the band organizers, leaders of the band organizers, that they should give a petition requesting for the conduct of this peaceful rally again, so that more people will participate, and then the rally will be conducted in a very peaceful manner. So because of this, now all the blockades that has been erected have been removed, and now normal life comes back, and vehicle movement have started as normal.
Right, Henry. So the situation is under control now. So we have seen in the visuals, the protesters, they pelted stones. They also set the vehicles on fire. They are demanding release of activist Mark Thangmang Haokip. So what are the authorities concerned telling about this? When will be he released, Henry? Any information on that?
There has not been any information regarding the timing for the release of this Mark Thangmang Haokip. The only thing that is given, the only assurances that is given to the band supporters is that they will conduct, they will be allowed to conduct this peaceful rally uh, after some days from today. So usually, this is not the first instances. Earlier, from Mumbai, also one person have been arrested, and he was brought to Churachandpur within 48 hours duration, and so the same thing may be repeated. That is what is being guessed by the public of Churachandpur.
All right, MK Henry, thank you so much for all those details. We'll come back to you in our later bulletins. Time for a very short break now. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
Oh, বাহ! ও বাহ! অভূতপূর্ব ভ্যারাইটি, অপূর্ব মূল্য। ডাউনলোড মিশো।
Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
Welcome back. You're watching News at 5, and now moving on to another big story. Well, the core committee of the Parliamentary Committee on Naga Political Issue is holding a crucial meeting in Kohima. This is the first meeting of the core committee after the leaders, including Chief Minister Nephew Rio, returned from the national capital following crucial round of discussions with the NSCNIM and interlocutor AK Mishra. The meeting, sources said, will discuss the Government of India's formula to resolve the flag and constitution issues. The meeting is also crucial as the core committee members, led by Chief Minister Nephew Rio, will meet NSCNIM leaders on May 29th. Meanwhile, earlier today, our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain, gave his perspective on the crucial core committee meet and also talked on the roadmap ahead for achieving a solution to the Naga issue. Listen in.
Absolutely, Priya. It seems that the roadmap for a solution to the protracted Naga issue is becoming clearer by the day. Now, at this point in time, as we speak, the core committee of the parliamentary committee, the core committee on the Naga peace talks, are having its very, very crucial meeting at the residence of Nagaland Chief Minister Nephew Rio. The meeting is taking place in the banquet hall in the Chief Minister's residence, attended by almost all the members of the core committee. There is Chief Minister Nephew Rio, there is Deputy Chief Minister Y. Patton, there is T.R. Jeliang, there is Ajo Neno, and there are also the member of parliaments and all the other members of the core committee. The member secretary, that is Neba Krono, is also present in that meeting. So all the top leaders are meeting, and sources are telling Northeast Live that the meeting is discussing the offer that has been the latest offer that the center has forwarded to the Naga people. As we all know, the deadlock was over the NSCNIM's core demand of flag and separate flag and constitution. Now, there was a time in the last fortnight when almost people thought that the central government has absolutely rejected in no uncertain terms these two demands, because that was what two important Naga leaders, that is Y. Patton, the Deputy Chief Minister, and former Chief Minister S.C. Zamir, had said, that the government of India, or for that matter the central leaders, was just about not willing to consider that's the demand of a flag and constitution. But yesterday, Mr. Ajo Nenu had told our channel, he is the co-chairman of the ruling United Democratic Alliance, he is a member of the core committee. He had told our channel that the center has come forward with an offer that the flag can be used by the Naga people for cultural purposes, and that the Naga statute, or the Yazabo, is also going to find reflection in the Indian constitution. This is the offer that the core committee at this point is believed to be discussing. So therefore the core committee engaged at this point in time in a very, very crucial meeting, after which, of course, as we have been reporting for the last 1 hour or so, the chief minister will meet the NSCN-IM on 29th of May. That is what sources are telling us. He will be accompanied by Mr. T.R. Jeliang, Mr. Ajo Neno, and few other leaders of the core committee. And of course, we all know by now that we have broken the story that the NSCN-IM has called an emergency National Assembly meeting, where all its civil wing leaders, the military wing leaders, and the members of the Tatar Hoho or the NSCNIM parliament are also going to attend.
Right, Wasbir. So what is also significant is that the core committee members will meet the NSCNIM on May 29th. And as K. Nenu told us last night, the core committee is expected to be very straightforward to the IM leaders. And isn't it, Wasbir?
Absolutely, that is what Mr. Nenu had told during the show with me last night, that the core committee is going to tell the NSCNIM leaders in no uncertain terms that just like the government of India has walked the extra mile to reach a solution, he said that NSCNIM also need to come forward to accept a solution that is of course honorable and acceptable. That is understood. But the appeal by the various political leaders, including the government leaders, as well as the civil society in Nagaland, is for the NSCNIM to take a call. And because the ball, obviously, at this point in time, lies in the court of the NSCNIM. I just want to know whether our Nagaland correspondent, Sarah Kanyak,
is we have us. Sarah with us.
Sarah, if you can hear me, Sarah, what's going on? This is a very, very critical meeting. And we are given to understand that this meeting is discussing the offer that the central government has come up with, the latest draft that the central government has come up with. So I will talk about the timeline, but what are you hearing at this point in time about the meeting that is going on?
Yes, was be absolutely the core committee meeting, which is being led by the chief minister himself, have begun just a while back. Top leaders like T.R. Ziliang, deputy CM, and other leaders are also present in the meeting. Yes, what we're hearing from our sources is that the chief minister will be briefing the house on what transpired in the crucial meetings that took place in Delhi between the government of India representative and the Naga negotiating parties. And yes, definitely, sources have informed us that the House will be deliberating and discussing at length on the offer which has been laid by the government of India to the NSA and IM, that is for the flag to be used in the cultural programs, and the Yazabo, the Naga constitution, to be incorporated in the Indian constitution. Well, if we recall back, was where the NSA and IM have time and again made their stand very clear that they will not accept anything less than the flag and the constitution. And the demand of the NSA and IM and the offer being made by the government of India is in little contrast. So the May 31st meeting is going to be very crucial and very significant, as sources are telling us that the NSA and IM leaders will be taking some key decisions on the 31st on the 31st of May, which is to be held at Camp Hebron.
Right, Sarah, stand by. Don't go away. Let me give the viewers a sense of the timeline. Let me give the viewers a sense of the timeline leading to a possible solution to the protracted Naga issue. As we know, the Naga issue is as old as India's independence, 1947, and it has its history in 1929 when the Simon Commission had visited Nagaland and seeking the opinion as to the views of the Nagaland, because India was knocking at the doors of freedom at that point in time. The Nagas had written to the Simon Commission that they want to stay as a free people. So that was the representation in 1929. That was the basis. That was the representation made by the Naga Club at that point in time. So that was the basis. 1947, India became independent, and the Nagas continued with their movement. There was an insurrection led by Angami Japu Fizo, considered the father of the Naga insurgency. He went off to London via East Pakistan. That was in 1956, and the insurrection continued. In 1980, the Naga National Council, the NSCN, was formed. In 1988, the NSCN got split, and thereafter there has been several factions have emerged on the scene. In 1997, of course, the ceasefire was declared between the NSA and IM and the government of India. That took place after serious confabulations in various international capitals, whether it was Chiang Mai, whether it was even there was discussions in Rome. There were discussions all over the world and different international capitals, and then the ceasefire came into effect in 1997. After that, for the last 25 years, there has been negotiations going on between the government of India and the NSA and IM. Of course, in the last couple of years, the new group has been formed, that is the Naga National Political Group. That is an umbrella organization of 7 different Naga insurgent factions. So we have the NSA and IM on one side and the NNPGs on the other. So there have been parallel talks going on between the government of India and the NSA and IM on one side, government of India and the NNPGs on the other. On the 3rd of August 2015, the NSA and IM, with signatures of Isaac C.C. Chu, who was then alive, he was the chairman, and Twingalang Muiva and others, they signed a framework agreement in presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ravi, who was the interlocutor then. And of course, thereafter in 2019, the agreed position came into being. That was an agreement that was signed between the government of India and the NNPGs. Thereafter, the issue they hit a roadblock because the NSA and IM said that they are not going to sign on the dotted line. They're not going to sign on any Naga peace accord without the core demand of a flag and constitution being considered by the government of India. So that was the deadlock. And thereafter, in the last fortnight, in the last 3 weeks, there have been brisk movement as far as the Naga peace talks are concerned. The Nagaland government leaders, as you know, there is an opposition-less government in Nagaland at this juncture. The Nagaland government leaders, they rushed to New Delhi. The NSA and IM delegation was already there. The NNPG delegation was already there. There were several rounds of discussions between these groups. There were discussions between the Nagaland government leaders with the interlocutor A.K. Mishra. And after that, they have returned and they were absolutely silent. In the meantime, 2 prominent Naga political leaders, Deputy Chief Minister Y. Patton and former Chief Minister S.C. Zamir, both belonging to 2 different political spectrums, they said more or less the same thing. They said in statements in Nagaland that the government of India, or for that matter, the central leaders, have absolutely said no to the demand for a separate Naga flag and constitution. So there was a feeling that the talks have once again hit a red roadblock. But again, yesterday things changed because Ajo Nenu, the co-chairman of the co-chairman of the United Democratic Alliance, the ruling alliance in Nagaland, and he is also the member of the core committee, said that the government of India has come up with some kind of a formula that the flag will be used for cultural purposes. That means they're ready to some extent on the flag, and they said that even the Naga constitution or the Naga Yazabo will find some reflection in the Indian constitution. So these are if this can be considered, if this is to be considered as a compromise formula, then that is what the core committee at this point is discussing. Now, after the core committee takes a decision, they are going to meet the NSC and IM leadership. That is going to take place on 29. That's what we are hearing. And after that, the NSC and IM has already called an emergency National Assembly session where its civilian and military wing leaders, apart from the Tatar Ho parliamentary leaders, are going to attend. So this is the highest body of the NSC and IM that is going to meet. This is an extremely rare meeting that is going to take place at Camp Hebron. After that, if the NSCN gives the go-ahead to the Central's proposal, now the framework agreement and the agreed position of the NSC and IM both combined, there will be a draft agreement for a final agreement. There will be a final draft agreement for the Naga peace talks or Naga peace process is concerned. That will be given to the elected representatives and then, of course, to the public domain. It is only after the Nagas, the ordinary Naga people, have seen the draft agreement is the agreement going to be actually signed by the stakeholders. That is the roadmap that Northeast Live has heard so far. We'll have to wait and watch whether all of this is true or whether this is partially true. But at this point, as we are reporting, a very, very crucial core committee meeting going on in Kohima, and our correspondent Sarah Konyak is standing by right outside the Chief Minister's residence to bring you all the details.
All right, now it's time for a very short break. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
সাধারণ স্টিল এনে কই পরে মাইথন স্টিল এনে কই পরে ধম কই
Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
कांग्रेस सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाया.
All the best.
We, the people of the Northeast, can also contest it.
पूर्वोत्तर में क्या रही आज की सुर्खियां? चुनावी राज्यों की राजनीतिक हलचल। देश विदेश की वो खबरें जिससे है अपनों का खास नाता।
जनता जनार्दन के आशीर्वाद से डबल इंजन की सरकार।
जानने के लिए देखिए समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
Northeast.
Welcome back. You're watching Northeast Live, and now before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Situation volatile in Manipur's Churachandpur following arrest of rights activists. Protesters take to the streets, burn vehicles, Section 144 imposed. Core Committee on Naga issue holds crucial meet in Kohima, ahead of big meeting with NSC and IM leaders likely to be held on May 29th. Meghalaya Chief Minister Congress Sangma refuses to review border deal with Assam. Chief Minister Sangma also informs of cabinet decision to raise liquor prices to increase revenue. And another massive blow to Congress. Veteran leader Kapil Sibal dumps party, files Rajya Sabha nomination with Samajwadi Party's backing. Moving on now. Well, the suicide note of George Bordeloy has been sent for forensic test. This was told to Northeast Live by Guwahati East DCP Sudhakar Singh. Singh said that the police is awaiting the forensic report, after which they would take the next course of action. The main accused, Father Stephen Mavley, was yesterday sent to 1 day of police custody. Mavley is to be produced before the CJM court today. Singh said here that the report of the investigating officer will decide if the police would seek further custody of Father Mavley.
Regarding the case of Mr. George Bordeloy, we have seized a suicide note, and in the suicide note, it was mentioned that the in charge of the Don Bosco University or the school there in the Sonapur was responsible for his death. That they had uh, means uh, some quarrel regarding the land issue. There was some land issue and so on. So as his name was mentioned, so that in charge Don Bosco school was picked up and for questioning. Then we have produced him in the court, and court gave us for 1 day remand. And today again we are producing him in the court after his detailed interrogation. So till now, the investigation is at that point. So further, after the IO returns from the court, what statement and has been recorded, we'll see accordingly, and the case will proceed in that way. The forensic report, we have not yet received it, but we have asked for it. So when the forensic report comes, then we'll know about it. Today actually is the work of the IO. So IO has gone to the court. So right now I have not contacted the IO. So let us see if he requires, he will do it.
Well, Guwahati-based entrepreneur and actor George Bordeloy allegedly died by suicide on Monday, leaving behind a suicide note where he blamed Father Mavley, the Vice Chancellor of Don Bosco University, of abetting in his suicide. Worth mentioning here, Father Mavley earlier accused Bordeloy and his son of destroying the property of Don Bosco University and even filed an FIR against the duo. Bordeloy allegedly took the extreme step after he could not tolerate the allegation, which he said was false and fabricated in his suicide note. And on to Mizoram now. Well, the swearing-in ceremony of the new MNF Congress Alliance executive body for the Marwa Autonomous District Council was held today. Mizoram Governor Haribabu Kambapati has given a green signal to the Mizo National Front Congress Alliance for the formation of the executive body of the MADC. It is to be mentioned here that Mizoram Congress's H. Malvina is the new CEM of the MADC, and MNF's HC Lalmal Sauma Jasai is appointed as the deputy CEM of MADC. Well, the MNF Congress Alliance has been given a 2-week time to prove its majority by a confidence motion. The MNF and the Congress forged a post-poll alliance on May 16, days after a political stalemate following the declaration of the council polls result. Meanwhile, Mizoram BJP has emerged as the single largest party in the MADC elections, winning 12 seats. On the other hand, the MNF bagged 9 and the Congress won 4 seats. Moving on now. In a big success in the war on drugs, police in Tripura's Amtali seized contraband worth rupees 5 lakh today. On the basis of specific information, Amtali police intercepted an SUV in front of the Amtali police station while the vehicle was trying to enter capital Agartala from South Tripura. During checking of the vehicle, police found 78.5 grams of suspected brown sugar concealed inside 6 soap cases hidden in the vehicle's handbrake cover. Meanwhile, and speaking to the media, officer in charge of Amtali police station, Siddhartha Kar, who led the entire operation, informed that the entire consignment is worth rupees 5 lakh in the market. Meanwhile, the driver of the vehicle, identified as Om Prakash Shaw, who is also the owner of the vehicle, has been arrested under relevant sections of the NDPS Act, and further interrogation is currently underway.
सुबह 9 बजे मेरे पास एक सीक्रेट इन्फॉर्मेशन आया तो ये इन्फॉर्मेशन ऐसा था एक XUV 500 गाड़ी साउथ डायरेक्शन से अगरतला का तरफ आ रहा है बाद में ये XUV को हम लोग सर्च किया जो हैंड ब्रेक है XUV का और गियर भी यहाँ पे है वो बॉक्स खुलने का बाद 6 नंबर शोप केस ऑफ हीरोइन ब्राउन शुगर हम लोग को मिला गाड़ी का जो ड्राइवर है ड्राइवर ही वो गाड़ी का ओनर है उसका नाम है ओम प्रकाश साहू उनको भी पकड़ाया और 6 नंबर ऑफ पाउच हम लोग वेट किया 78.5 ग्राम्स यह का कीमत अप्रोक्सीमेट 5 लाख होगा
And shifting focus now. In what comes as a major boost to education in Assam's tea sector, as many as 96 newly built government tea estate model schools were inaugurated across the state. A total of 119 such schools are being built at various tea gardens across the state, of which 96 have been opened today. Leading from the front, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma inaugurated 6 model schools in Sonipur district today. He inaugurated the first school, Ghogra Tea Estate, followed by the other schools in Sonajuli, Naharani and Fulbari Tea Estates.
আজি আমাৰ বাবে এটা অত্যন্ত সোণালী দিন এটা অসমৰ শৈক্ষিক জীৱনৰ বাবে অত্যন্ত স্মৰণীয় মুহূৰ্ত ৯৬খন বিদ্যালয় একেলগে আৰম্ভ কৰা আৰু চাহ বাগিচাৰ ভিতৰত আৰম্ভ কৰা এয়া সহজ কথা নহয় মই অসমবাসী ৰাইজক অভিনন্দন জনাইছো
Well, cabinet ministers and local MLAs also inaugurated other schools in different tea gardens. For instance, Education Minister Ranoj Pegu inaugurated schools in Jorhat.
যোৰহাট জিলাত আমি 7খন বিদ্যালয় আজি দিনটোৰ ভিতৰত আমি উন্মোচন কৰিম মুঠ অসমত 96খন হ'ব 96খনৰ লগতে আৰু বিদ্যালয় আমাৰ হাজু হৈ আছে কাৰ্বি আংলঙত এখন তাত আমি কাৰ্বি আংলং কাউন্সিলৰ নিৰ্বাচনৰ কাৰণে এখন আমি স্থগিত ৰাখিছো আৰু বাকিখন নিৰ্মাণ অৱস্থাত আছে খুব কম সময়ৰ ভিতৰত আমাৰ 116খন সম্পূৰ্ণ হৈ যাব আৰু আমি সম্পূৰ্ণ 200 কৰিবৰ কাৰণে বাকি বিদ্যালয়খিনিৰো নিৰ্মাণ অনুমোদন এই বছৰতে বিদ্যালয়সমূহৰ প্ৰতি খুব ইতিবাচক সঁহাৰি আৰম্ভ কৰাৰ লগে লগে ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰী আহি উবুৰি খাই পৰিছে নাম ভৰ্তি কৰিবৰ কাৰণে আৰু ই কেৱল বাগান অঞ্চল নহয় বাগানৰ দাঁতি কাষৰীয়া অন্য যিসমূহ গাঁও আছে তাৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালীও ইয়াত শিক্ষা গ্ৰহণ কৰিব পাৰিব
এইটো এটা সুদূৰপ্ৰসাৰী পদক্ষেপ নিশ্চিতভাৱে আমাৰ বাগানৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকল বহু দূৰলৈ যাব লাগে পঢ়া শুনাৰ কাৰণে তেখেতৰ যথেষ্ট কষ্ট হয় মাক দেউতাক যিহেতু ৰাতিপুৱাই বাগানৰ চাকৰিৰ কাৰণে গুচি যায় তেনেস্থলত আমাৰ চৰকাৰে হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মা ডাঙৰীয়াৰ নেতৃত্বত অসম চৰকাৰে এইটো ব্যৱস্থা গ্ৰহণ কৰিলে ই আশাৰ সঞ্চাৰ কঢ়িয়াই আনিছে স্থানীয় ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকলৰ কাৰণে গতিকে ই খুব সুন্দৰ বিষয়
It may be mentioned here that it was one of the bold promises of Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma to spread the light of higher education in the tea gardens of Assam. Meanwhile, 13 such model schools will be inaugurated in Dibrugarh over the next 4 days at various locations by one union and 5 state ministers. These include Union Minister of State Rameshwar Teli and State Ministers Atul Bora, Bimal Bora, Chandra Mohan Patwari, Jogen Mohan, and Sanjoy Kishan. Well, Dibrugarh Inspector of Schools, Deepika Chaudhary, informed that the buildings are being built by the PWD building and teachers' books, benches, table, chairs, and equipment are being provided by the Education Department. Well, apart from the regular infrastructure and accessories, the 13 schools in Dibrugarh district has been provided with a 65-inch television sets for imparting education through audio and visual mode. Enrollment of students have already begun in the response is very much encouraging, Chaudhary added. Well, notably, the initiative is a joint collaboration of the Education Department and a Bangalore-based NGO American Indian Foundation.
असम गवर्नमेंट का ये इनिशिएटिव है क्योंकि जब से इंडिपेंडेंस हुआ है इंडिया का और उससे पहले भी जो गार्डन एरियाज है उनमें कोई भी हाई स्कूल नहीं था सारे स्कूल्स एलपी स्कूल्स थे और हार्डली कहीं कहीं पे एमई स्कूल्स थे और इसलिए क्या हो रहा था कि गार्डन एरिया के जो बच्चे हैं वो लोग ड्रॉप आउट हो जाते थे स्कूल से तो असम गवर्नमेंट का ये इनिशिएटिव है इससे ये हिस्टोरिक एक मोमेंट है हम सब के लिए कि गार्डन में हाई स्कूल स्थापित हो रहा है पूरे आसाम में 119 गार्डन स्कूल स्थापित हो रहे हैं और आज से ये स्कूल्स इनोग्रेट हो रहे हैं फर्स्ट फेज में हमारे पूरे असम में 96 गार्डन स्कूल्स इनोग्रेट हो रहे हैं आज कल और परसों का दिन हम लोगों ने लिए हैं तो डिब्रूगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट में भी कुल 19 ये है गार्डन मॉडल हाई स्कूल्स है और उनमें से 13 स्कूल्स इन 3 दिनों में इनोग्रेट हो रहे हैं और इसका यही मकसद है कि जो हमारे टी कम्युनिटी के जो बच्चे हैं कोई भी ड्रॉप आउट नहीं होना चाहिए कि पास में स्कूल नहीं है ऐसा कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए और जो टीचर्स है हम लोगों ने 8 टीचर्स डिप्लॉय किए हैं सारे एक्सपीरियंस टीचर है ताकि बच्चों को अच्छे से पढ़ा सके और इन लोगों का जो फ्यूचर है अभी ऐसा है कि सारा माँ बाप सारे बच्चे के वही गार्डन में ही काम करते हैं लेकिन हम लोगों का ये है कि वो लोग बाहर आए कुछ काम करे टीचर बने ऑफिसर्स बने इसके लिए ये सपोर्ट सरकार के तरफ से दिया जा रहा है
बड़े बड़े टीवी सेट्स लगाए जा रहे हैं क्या कहना चाहिए
ये एक्चुअली बहुत एक गुड न्यूज है डिब्रूगढ़ के लिए खास करके क्योंकि बाकी जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उनमें कहीं पर भी ये फैसिलिटी आपको नहीं मिलेगा हम लोग लकी है मेरे कुछ जान पहचान बन गए थे एक एनजीओ है अमेरिकन इंडियन फाउंडेशन उन लोगों के साथ जब जान पहचान हुई तो हम लोगों ने उनको रिक्वेस्ट भेजा कि हमारे जो स्कूल्स है एजुकेशन सेक्टर के लिए वो लोग कुछ काम करे और उन लोगों ने अभी आप लोगों को जान के खुशी होगी कि डिब्रूगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट के 83 स्कूल्स अडॉप्ट किए हैं और ये स्कूल्स रिनोवेट भी हो रहे हैं और ऑडियो विजुअल क्लासेस के लिए 65 इंच का एक बड़ा टीवी जहां सारा वो लेसन वगैरह इंस्टॉल्ड है वो ऐसा टीवी प्रोवाइड किए हैं और उन 83 स्कूलों में हम लोगों ने ये 13 जो गार्डन टी हम लोगों का मॉडल स्कूल से उन लोगों को भी हमने डाल दिया है एंड आई एम रियली थैंकफुल टू द एआई फाउंडेशन
टी गार्डन में अभी असम गवर्नमेंट ने इतना बढ़िया से ये विशेष करके स्टूडेंट के लिए जो उनका पढ़ाई के लिए अभी इतना डेवलपमेंट कर रहा है और अभी 119 टी गार्डन में इसे स्कूल अभी बन रहा है इसको फिर अपग्रेडेशन कर देगा हाई सेकेंडरी तक टी गार्डन का जो लड़का लड़की था उन लोग को पढ़ाई के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने जो स्टेप लिया है ये खूब अच्छा स्टेप है और इसका लिए मैं माननीय मुख्यमंत्री और शिक्षा मंत्री को धन्यवाद देता हूँ
And now on to another big story from Assam. Well, police has arrested 2 more persons in connection with the Batadrawa violence, where a mob torched a police station. The 2 arrested persons have been identified as Mujibur Rahman and Ashraf Ali. Both the persons have been arrested based on the video footage of the incident. So far, police has arrested a total of 34 persons in connection with the incident. Meanwhile, Yasmin Khatun, who was the main person who set fire on the police station, is still absconding.
Search operations পিছত দুটা আৰু আসামি এৰেষ্ট কৰা গৈছে এজনৰ নাম মুজিবুৰ ৰহমান আৰু এজনৰ নাম আশৰাফ আলী তেখেতসকলক আমি এই দুটা আসামিক আমি ভিডিঅ' ফুটেজৰ পৰা আইডেন্টিফাই কৰিছিলোঁ তাৰে এজন আসামি মানে মাৰপিট কৰি থকা অৱস্থাত তেওঁৰ ফুটেজ আছে আৰু এজনে আমাৰ পুলিচ ষ্টেচন এটাক কৰি থকা অৱস্থাত দেখা গৈছিলে আমি এতিয়ালৈকে টোটেল 34 আছামী আইডেণ্টিফাই কৰিছোঁ ভিডিঅ' ফুটেজ এনালিচিছৰ পিছত চ' এতিয়া আমাৰ টোটেল এৰেষ্ট হৈ গৈছে 8টা আৰু বাকীখিনি যিমান ৰিমেইনিং আছে আমাৰ চাৰ্চ অপাৰেশ্যনছ কণ্টিনিউ থাকিব আৰু গোটেইখিনি আমি কৰায়ত্ব কৰিবলৈ আমি চেষ্টা চলাই আছোঁ
And moving on now. Well, in a sensational incident, unidentified miscreants ransacked a temple in Guwahati's Petapara last night. As per inputs, the miscreants vandalized the statues of Shiva and Ganesh. Not only this, the miscreants also broke the Ganesh statue. Well, the incident has stirred anger among the locals, with several people in a state of deep shock and anguish. The police, meanwhile, has launched an investigation into the case.
ইমান সাহস কৰিলে আজি গুৱাহাটীৰ মাজমজিয়াত যে এই আৰম্ভণিহে কৰা যেন পাইছোঁ এইটো হয়তো কোনোবা দুষ্কৃতিকাৰীক টকা পইচা দি পেলাই এইটো কৰাইছে যিবিলাক আচল কালপিত তেওঁলোক বোধহয় ক'ৰবাত বহি আছে গতিকে এইটো খুব এটা দুখ লগা কাহিনী হৈছে
আমি প্ৰশাসনক ক'ব বিচাৰিছোঁ যে আমাৰ নিৰাপত্তা ক'ত যদি মূৰ্তিৰ অৱস্থা আমি ঘৰৰ ভিতৰত থাকি কি নিৰাপত্তা গতিকে আমি প্ৰশাসনক জনাওঁ যে ইমিডিয়েটলি এই তৃতীয় শক্তি যোন জড়িত হৈ আছে হয়তো ইয়াত কোনোবা তৃতীয় পক্ষ জড়িত হৈ আছে আমাৰ হিন্দু মুছলিমৰ কোনোবা কাজিয়া লগাব চেষ্টা কৰিছে হয়তো নগাঁও কেছটো লৈ কিবা এটা ইয়াত কৰিব পুতক তুলিব বিচাৰিছে গতিকে এইটো প্ৰশাসনক অনুৰোধ জনাইছোঁ যে এইটো বন্ধ কৰিব লাগে
লিংগটো আজি কেনেকৈ নদীত পেলাইছে মূৰ্তিটো কেনেকুৱাকৈ এটা মানুহৰ জীৱটো বাহিৰে মূৰ্তিটো ধুনীয়াকৈ আমি সজাই লৈছোঁ কিন্তু মূৰ্তিটো কেনেকৈ ভাঙি পেলাইছে ত্ৰিফুল এডালো ভালে ৰাখা নাই চব মুটুকি ভাঙি পেলাইছে শিৱলিংগ বগৰাই দিছে নদীত লিংগটো নদীত পেলাইছে মূৰ্তিটো চাইডত পেলাইছে আৰু ত্ৰিফুল ভাঙি দানপাত্ৰ ভাঙি গোটেই নষ্ট কৰি পেলাইছে
10টা 10:30লৈকে আমি সদায় দোকানত বহি থাকোঁ সদায় মন্দিৰটো চাই থাকোঁ আমি মাজে সময়ে নাম চাম ধৰোঁ তেনেকুৱা স্থলত এই মন্দিৰটো এনেকুৱা অত্যাচাৰ কৰিছে তাৰমানে আমি ভাবিব নোৱাৰোঁ সপোনতো আমি ভবা নাছিলোঁ মন্দিৰটো এনেকুৱা কোনোবা দিনা এদিন হ'ব কিন্তু এনেকুৱা লাগিছে যে মই এটাই প্ৰশাসনক অনুৰোধ জনাব বিচাৰিলোঁ তেখেতসকলৰ পেট্ৰল ডিউটিৰ সময়ত মন্দিৰ ভাঙিব কেনেকৈ পালে তেখেতসকলে ৰাতি পেট্ৰল ডিউটি দি থাকে কাৰণ তেখেতসকলে পেট্ৰল ডিউটি দিয়া নাই তেখেতসকলে নোহোৱা কাৰণে আজি এনেকুৱা হ'ব পাৰিছে গতিকে তেখেতসকলক চৰকাৰে দৰমহা দি কিয় ৰাখিছে যে তেখেতসকলে যদি পেট্ৰল ডিউটি নকৰে
এইজন দুজনৰ মানুহ কাম নহয় এইটো মানে কিবা এটা নিশ্চয় কিবা গ্ৰাছ আছে তাৰ কাৰণে এইটো কৰিছে আৰু একজন দুজন মানুহ অহা নাই এইটো সামূহিকভাৱে এইটো কৰিছে दुर्भाग्यजनक है बस
होना ही नहीं चाहिए जी इस तरह से काम ही नहीं होना चाहिए क्योंकि इससे में ये सब होने से आदमी का मन में झगड़ा बढ़ता है एक दूसरे के प्रति मन में घृणा आती है एक दूसरे के प्रति मन में नफरत आ जाती है ये सब तो पूजा और पाठ करने के लिए जगह बनाई गई है लोगों की आस्था की जगह है जी ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए किसी को नहीं करना चाहिए सब काम में
আমাৰ সমাজত যে শান্তি আছে শান্তিটো ভংগ কৰাই সিহঁতৰ প্ৰধান হেতু এইটো কোনো জাতিগত বুলি মই নকওঁ কিন্তু শান্তিটো ভংগ কৰিবৰ কাৰণে সিহঁতে এইটো অপচেষ্টা এইবিলাক
অতি আগত চকুৰ পানী পৰিছে পুৱা গধূলি নিজে ঝাৰু মাৰো বামুণ এজন ৰাখিছে তাক দৰমহা দিওঁ হা ইয়াত কোনো আমাৰ স্থানীয় মানুহে সেনেকুৱাকৈ সহযোগ কৰে পূজা পাঠত কিন্তু গাইগতীয়াভাৱে মোৰ ল'ৰাটোৱে বনাইছিল শ্ৰী বিশ্বজিৎ তালুকদাৰ সি ঢুকাইছে এইটো হ'ল 18 বছৰ হ'ল
চাওক এতিয়া দুটা মন্দিৰত ৰাতি মানে কোনোবাই ভেণ্ডেলিজম কৰিছে বস্তুটো ভাল হোৱা নাই এইটো আচলতে মানুহৰ আস্থাত আঘাত দিয়া হৈছে গতিকে আমি এইটো পুলিচ ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্টৰ ফালৰ পৰা মই ক'ব বিচাৰিছোঁ যে ইয়াত উচিত বিচাৰ হ'ব আৰু আইনী ব্যৱস্থা লোৱা যায় আৰু উচিত বিচাৰ দিয়া যায় তেওঁলোকক এতিয়া এই মুহূৰ্তত এইটো কোৱাটো টান যে কোন শ্ৰেণীৰ লোকে কৰিব কিন্তু যোনে কৰিছে এইবিলাক বদমাছ মানুহক মানে ভাল শাস্তি দিয়া হ'ব
And time for another short break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage. Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
कांग्रेस सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाया
all the best. We, the people of the Northeast, can also contest it.
पूर्वोत्तर में क्या रही आज की सुर्खियां? चुनावी राज्यों की राजनीतिक हलचल। देश विदेश की वो खबरें जिससे है अपनों का खास नाता।
जनता जनार्दन के आशीर्वाद से डबल इंजन की सरकार।
जानने के लिए देखिए समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage. Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
कांग्रेस सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाया।
All the best. We, the people of the Northeast, can also contest it.
पूर्वोत्तर में क्या रही आज की सुर्खियां? चुनावी राज्यों की।
Welcome back. You're watching news at 5 and now moving on to a big story from Meghalaya. Chief Minister Kongrat Sangma, while addressing the media, categorically stated that there will not be a review on the historic Assam-Meghalaya border agreement signed between the two states. Sangma pointed out that people should understand that the wrong messaging could do and reiterate that villages not included in the initial list of disputed areas have not been featured in the final list. The Meghalaya Chief Minister said that hence the question of them being transferred to neighbouring Assam does not exist.
I've said it again and again that the review is something that is not going to happen. We have gone ahead with this agreement, and I'm happy to meet them if they would like to meet and discuss the matters with me. And last time also, I'll just give you a very, very small example. This again is something that is a question that needs to be understood, and I think people will understand that what the wrong messaging can do. So there was a village that came, and now the list that was there was 23 villages. Now, when the committee went into the field, 36 villages were actually met, because at that point in time, everybody just came. While we went into those 36 villages, I can't remember the exact number, but of course I remember 13 were not in the initial list of disputed areas. So then we realized that out of these 13, so exact number I don't remember in this one, that there were some which were already in Meghalaya, and there were some which were already in Assam. They were never part of dispute. Now what happened was, when the final list came out, the villages that were not in Meghalaya were not included in the list. But that does not mean that those villages are not in Meghalaya, because they were already in Meghalaya. So the two states said, well, the villages that are not in the disputed zones, why do we include them in this thing? And we can't include because the list was made finally in 2011. So when the villagers of this one village came to me, and they were very upset that they had been left out, and they said, we were always part of Meghalaya, we've always been there, how come our list was not there in the areas of the areas that were sorted out? So when that happened, I asked them, where is your village? Show me the point. So when they showed me, I told them, you're already in Meghalaya, you're never in the disputed area, and there's no question of you being sent anywhere. So what I'm trying to say is that they thought that because their name was not in the list, they thought that they had been sent to Assam. But the point is that those villages were among those list of 13 which were already either in Assam or in Meghalaya and never were part of the disputed area. But because their name did not come in the list, they thought that they were being left out and being sent to Meghalaya. So when they left my room, after 1 hour of discussion with me, they were very happy. So like that, there are many such instances where there's a confusion as to what's happening. So we're happy to clarify.
And when asked about the timing of the second phase of talks on the remaining 6 areas of difference, the Chief Minister said that discussions are on and the two states are yet to finalize a good time to deliberate.
We'll see. We'll discuss. We have been speaking to each other, but we have not been able to find a great time. So many issues are there, and I think Assam also has some elections coming up. So once all these are over, I hope that very soon we'll be able to initiate the discussions in the second.
All right, back to Manipur. Well, in another success for Manipur police, a large quantity of contraband was seized in the state's Chandel district on Tuesday. As per inputs, a team of Special Commando Unit and 43 Assam Rifles and personnel of Chakpi Karong Police Station, led by Sub-Inspector Bungson Koko Anil, were conducting joint patrol along the Indo-Myanmar border when they received information regarding the movement of drugs. However, the vehicle in question bypassed the joint patrolling party by taking an alternate route. Subsequently, backup parties were alerted who managed to detain the vehicle. And upon checking the vehicle, 186 soap cases containing suspected brown sugar were found hidden in the back seat. Furthermore, a sum of rupees 49,620 in cash and 5 mobile phones were also seized. And meanwhile, police also arrested 5 persons who were traveling on the vehicle, who have been identified as Senting Thang Haukip, Gamin Lung Gyute, Semin Lung Gyute, Semin Lal Gyute, and Dokosei Mate. Meanwhile, the arrested persons along with the seized contraband were handed over to Chakpi Karong police station for further legal action. And on to top national focus now. Well, in another bombshell for the Congress, senior party leader and former Union Minister Kapil Sibal dumped the Grand Old Party after he filed the nomination as an independent candidate for Rajya Sabha supported by the Samajwadi Party. Well, taking the media by utter disbelief, Kapil Sibal informed that he resigned from the Congress on May 16 and is now an independent voice. Notably, this is the latest high-profile exit from the Congress and the fifth in last 5 months. Well, Sibal is known to have close ties with the Yadav family as a senior advocate. Sibal had argued in January 2017 at the Election Commission that Akhilesh Yadav should get the bicycle symbol. Well, this is the latest high-profile exit from the Congress, the fifth in 5 months. Sibal resigned a day after the Congress brainstorming session to discuss a roadmap for the party's revival after a series of devastating election defeats. Well, Kapil Sibal, an ace lawyer who was among one of the senior most leaders of the Congress, was among the G23 or group of 23 dissenters who had called for a complete overhaul of the party's leadership and organization in a letter to party president Sonia Gandhi 2 years ago. He had also been vocal and increasingly sharp in his criticism of the Gandhi's leadership in recent months. Well, news and updates continue on Northeast Live, so stay tuned for more news. Thanks for watching.
कांग्रेस सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाया.
All the best. We, the people of the Northeast, can also contest it.
पूर्वोत्तर में क्या रही आज की सुर्खियां? चुनावी राज्यों की राजनीतिक हलचल।